like you mentioned, is an image of the Butterfly Nebula, region of it. It's more of a less of a wide field view, more of an in-depth view of the core of the Butterfly Nebula. I've built observatory in my backyard, so I'm able to image anywhere really with an internet connection. I call it a remote observatory just because I don't like going outside up here in northern Arizona late at night. So you can
Mhm.
imagine a 10-minute exposure is what that is. You're keeping the camera going for 10 minutes, and as you keep expanding and expanding that time, 10 minutes, the sensor gets very hot. Obviously, the longer you shoot, the more detail you're going to capture in an image, especially
Yes.
with a light like this. I use PixInsight. I think
Mhm.
it's the best program out there for calibration, putting all your frames together. It's changed so much in the past, I'd say 2 decades. I was using a simple point and shoot, DSLR, really even with an untracking
Mhm.
mount. One that didn't track on just a tripod, I would take single shots. So much easier too. Before you had to manually, polar align, to the North Star, of course, here in the Northern Hemisphere. And
Mhm.
we're very fine tuned, especially, 10, 15 years ago to get a 600-second, 10-minute exposure with the very rudimentary tracking setup back then, that would be very hard to do. And that is so key to long exposures too. You know,
Yes.
polar alignment is off, you're going to get star trails all over the place. I gather more data than I have time to process. A lot of
Mhm.
individuals try to jump into the hobby. It's not a cheap hobby, number one. And, they'll buy something expensive, get very frustrated, and they'll get burned out from it. I always suggest everybody to start small. The mount
Yeah.
I would start with was with a very good mount. Be patient, learn the process. There's a huge learning curve, not with just the acquisition of astrophotography photos, but the process. The processing of them is a whole other
Mhm.
learning curve in itself.